I've spent, this much money to go to university. I've worked this hard to get through university, doing all these creative things on the side, working my butt off. Like, the whole point, isn't it meant to get easier? A full-time job or interning, and I had to waitress on the weekends and the evenings so I could intern. So it just meant I had no spare time, let alone family time, time for therapy. Like, it just wasn't possible. And I can't get Welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Natalie Byrne. I hope you're well. I hope you're as well as you can be right now. Today I wanted to just sit down and have a little chat. I am doing my skincare routine. I'm sorry, my nails are really bad. So I have a Patreon page, if you don't know, and I do some coaching on there. My beautiful patrons, and I have been talking about mental health lately, and I thought that instead of putting out what I wanted to put out in the next video, I wanted to just take some time and chat about mental health, creativity, how to take care of ourselves as creative people, and I just wanted to chat and ramble. I have no plan at all. I have my skincare routine out here in front of me with some other things, so I'm just going to go through my evening skincare routine like you care, but self-care for me. Let's talk about self-care, talk about mental health, talk about looking after ourselves whilst I look after myself. So I've got a cup of tea here. Before we get into it, I want to thank my patrons for allowing me the time to make these videos. They support me so I can continue doing what I want to do. I do loads of things on my Patreon page, and one of them is a weekly podcast. The last one I did was on finding courage. So let's just get into it. I feel like none of us know, right, how to prepare for this year, how to manage this year. There's no clear, concrete advice. We're kind of all just figuring this out together. But what I do know is I've had a very long history of mental health troubles. I don't know what the right term is. So I kind of wanted to just share my story, share my experience, share how I take care of myself when times have been really tough, and just talk about how we can take care of ourselves as artists. So first off, I need to cleanse my face. I probably tie my hair up. Hold on a minute. I'm getting properly becoming an influencer now. Maybe I just need to do this. Shout out to Charlie Babes who sent me this year, which is so cute. It's a little heart clip. Can you see it? It's so cute. Okay, I think that did the job. Everything I use is cruelty free, I believe, from what I googled and gathered. First off is, I feel like the first times that I really started to doubt myself as an artist or creative person was when I was at uni. I had this huge confidence crisis. If you go back into other videos, I will link them below where I talk about it. But in case you don't know, oh my goodness, I look like that Charlie XCX collaboration covers, like the one with Troye Sivan and the one with Haim, where it's like intergalactic photo shoot. Anyway, I remember being really hit by and quite shocked when I realised from listening to other people's stories, from being, going to loads of lectures by different people, different talks and different experiences, and just soaking everything up like a sponge. There was this narrative that kept coming up, and it really was just this one narrative that was I studied graphic design, best experience, but I think from what I was soaking up, like a sponge, being a student, being like, I'm just going to listen to everyone and take in as much as I can. Really, the only narrative that I was getting at the time was hustle, hustle, hustle. I mean, I studied, when did I went at like 2011, so it was like this time where it was this like hustle, 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 like work till you die mentality, and there was never any talk about mental health or self-care or looking after yourself or being healthy. Hi, editing Natalie chiming in here. I just wanted to clarify, because I don't think I said it at all, that because I came from a working class background, because I'd always worked since I was 14, to work so hard to even just get to uni. I was working in a bar, which was really long, late hours till 4, 5 in the morning, getting to uni for 10 a.m, doing a full day, 10 till 6 at uni, and then going straight to the bar for working again, and then being told that you had to do unpaid internships. I knew I was going to have to keep doing multiple jobs out of uni, to work really, really hard, non-stop. It gave me a lot of anxiety because I didn't want to do anything else. I didn't know how to do anything else. I really wanted to have a creative career. But when I looked ahead at my future, what was laid out in front of me, it was debilitating because I didn't come from a background where I could get any help. Whereas I know that that was not the experience of possibly many people in my class, if not the majority. So I wanted to just share that, because I don't think I clarified that that's not the experience of many of my friends. But the reason why I had a huge confidence crisis is because I knew that I was sacrificing my mental well-being just by having a creative career dream. It was quite off-putting. And I saw lots of people who were like, yeah, I want to have a creative career and I want to do cool things, but I don't want to do it at the expense of spending time with my family. I don't want to do it at the expense of being unhealthy or sat in a screen like all day, every day. So it's really exciting now how people are talking about their mental health. People are talking about, there are YouTubers now that will take a full month off, or it's a really exciting time where I am seeing a different narrative being played out, which is like you can be successful and take breaks, and like take long breaks. And I remember when I started posting on Instagram, it was like all the advice was post every day, every day post. Whereas now it's less. It's like post 3 times a week, 3 to 5 times a week. So really, when I went to uni was when I was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder and panic attack disorder. I was having panic attacks every day. Oh, I didn't even say what this was. Should I be a proper this is Superfacialist's oil cleanser. Sorry, my nails are so bad. Lover oil cleanse. This has got vitamin C in it. I wasn't in a very good place, and yet I felt like the only way to have a successful creative career, or if I wanted to keep up with everyone, I was having to work, or I saw this future laid out for me in my life that was like, so much sacrifice in terms of like your health and your well-being. And not only that, but I've always wanted to have a family, and the idea of having to sacrifice so much in order to make creative work, or to be successful, was just like, it gave me a lot of anxiety, because I didn't want to do anything else. And actually, one of the main reasons why I fell out of love with graphic design was in one of my internships. I was sat down next to someone who was really I was doing an internship in this amazing place. I had this wonderful opportunity. I had quite a few amazing and like wonderful opportunities as internships, had the best experience. But there was someone who was just was quite senior in their role, and his wife had just given birth to a newborn baby, literally a few weeks prior, and he was always the first one in, always the last one out. He had a quite supervisory role, like quite a high level role. It's been so long since I've worked in an office, I don't remember all the things, but yeah, it was quite high up. And it was just a case of like, wait, I thought the high up you get, and I'm sure that this is the case in some places, but like, it was just like, I want a family, like, I want this, but I want this creative career, and I want to work in places like this, and around people like this, but I don't want it to be at the cost of, I don't want it that way. I didn't want it like that, where I was gonna, I've heard people getting called, on the way their wife is giving birth, and I've actually met a graphic designer whose wife gave birth, and they had a client that like called him when he was on the way. Also, I have a scratch here because my feeler, I got my feeler sweatshirt. I took it off, and the little, the feeler logo like scratched me, so dangerous, really. But anyway, yeah, so I remember having that experience as an internship, and I also had another internship where someone else had really young kids, and she was, again, one of the first ones in, and I was avoiding rush hour, so I was getting in like before 9. One of the first ones in, one of the last ones there. I mean, like 11 o'clock, like every night, 11, It's just like quite shocking when you're like, I've spent, this much money to go to university. I've worked this hard to get through university, doing all these creative things on the side, working my butt off. Like, the whole point, isn't it meant to get easier? Aren't you like working really hard so that you can like kind of relax in the future? Like, I thought that was the whole point of it, was not relax, but have some type of balance. And so, it was really like, I was asking myself some really deep questions, and in the end I ended up taking some time off and just waitressing and really, asking myself what I really wanted to do. And that's when I started illustrating, and then I went back to graphic design, and it was like this big thing. And actually, when I was waitressing, I made the decision to able to take a part-time job that wasn't going to mean so much travel going into London, and really prioritise my mental health for the first time in my life, which was hard when you're working a full-time job or interning, and I had to waitress on the weekends and the evenings so I could intern. So it just meant I had no spare time, let alone family time for therapy. Like, it just wasn't possible. So deciding when, I had a few internships, to take some time off, I had so many people in my life telling me I was making a huge mistake, and that let me just put this mask on so I can actually get into it. I had so many people telling me that I was making a huge mistake, that, by the time that I, have taken a few months off and get back into it, people will ask me, like, what did I do in this? I'm just literally putting a beard on my face. And I had just people making me feel really bad for it. And I did wonder, like, oh my goodness, is this going to be it? Like, in my mind, I had almost decided to quit a bit, kind of. I was like, do I really want this? Asking myself all these kind of like deep existential questions. I was 24 at the time. Was I? I honestly can't remember now. But yeah, and it was really difficult, but I just knew that, my anxiety was getting worse and worse and worse, and I was getting, it was unbearable for a really long time. And it got to the point, when having panic attacks every day, it meant that I was having quite a lot of diarrhea as well, because anxious tummy is not fun either, and it really was just like, I need to just stop for a minute, otherwise I was gonna end up, because I had spent a night in hospital when I was at uni. Like, it wasn't fun. It's not good to have like diarrhea, non-stop all the time. I just put that right in my hair. So, and I was constantly pushing through it. My uni, actually, head of year uni, after they saw that I was getting ill all the time, they were like, maybe you should, go home and, concentrate on your health. Because it's not, I was working whilst going in, to uni, and working in my bar when I was like that. So, and I was still like, when I got the advice to take a year out, I was like, no, I need to work, I need to go here, I want to do this, I want to, I can't, it was like this fear of like, if I stop, then I'll feel behind. And I think in this society, we always just feel behind, like, all the time anyway. I need to put timer on. This is going to be a really long chat, like, it's going to be a long one. So yeah, I ended up getting therapy. I started to really, it had happened for a really long time. You're ill for that long. I was ill for so long that it was just like, I kind of don't want to live anymore if I'm not going to be able to. Like, every time I ate anything, I was like, I don't know whether it's gonna go through me well. And just having panic attacks every day is like, that whole period I was working, waitressing, working in a bar, doing uni throughout those couple of years, and I couldn't go to birthday parties. I couldn't go to, because I was so anxious. I didn't like restaurants or parties. Restaurants were the worst for me. Just so much noise and so much people. So I couldn't go. And every time we did a celebration for my birthday, it was always like in the house with just really small people, with a small amount of people. So yeah, it was just like work was everything I pushed myself to do, because I was like, this is something I have to do. I just let all my like health and well-being and everything else kind of didn't matter. So sad. So yeah, I got therapy. I did CBT therapy. Really helped me. Didn't help me overnight. That was actually one of the reasons why I started drawing, because I had been through different types of therapy all through my life. Like, I had counselling when I was at school, and I had some therapy when I was at uni, which was great. But I knew that I had to just start doing something different, which was actually talk about my feelings to people in my life, which is not something I had done before, and I couldn't. So I started to draw instead, and then I posted it on Instagram. And I tell people all the time, and granted, look, I know we've got to pay money for our bills, and I was waitressing at the times to get by, and I know it's not easy for me to be like, take time off. But what I'm trying to say is, from prioritizing my mental health then, which felt very much like going against the grain, I was doing something that I was told not to by several people I really respected, several people who were kind of mentors for me at the time, and it was honestly the best thing I've ever done. And every day I'm so grateful for myself for, being like, you know what, my career can wait for just a little bit. Or, well, actually, really, what was going on was like, I was second guessing myself, thinking that I don't think I was cut out for it. I really started to believe I wasn't, able to make it. I thought I just didn't have what it takes, basically. But obviously I did go back. I did get a graphic design job afterwards. So it was basically a break in the end. But yeah, I genuinely gave up. by the way. Like, I was like, don't think I got what it takes. Like, really don't. And the future that I saw for myself, obviously I know every place is different, but it was just hard to be around people who had, you know, sacrificed so much of their family time to work on these like huge client projects, you know, with the biggest brands in the world. And then, so I started going to therapy, did therapy, was great, really sorted me out. What I'm trying to say is, it's okay to take time off. We're not meant to be on all the time. And I know, like I said, like all through my studying, because I studied graphic design at college and then went on to university, I'm hoping that things have changed now, but no one ever spoke to me about mental health and how to manage your mental health. Maybe I miss those days. I was not the perfect student, so maybe I miss those lectures. Who knows? What I want to say is, you absolutely can create the life that you want, and there is so much. Oh yeah, I didn't say what this was. This is this. It's cruelty free. It has a little thing on it, and it's from Sainsbury's. It's a little mask, wash and face mask. You can just get it from Sainsbury's. They have like a whole brand. If you're looking for a really cheap, simple, cruelty free skincare, I love their hand cream as well. I'm trying to share with you what happened on my journey, to share that having a break was the best thing I ever did, and I needed that break so much. And you know, I speak to students all the time, and people are and on my, I coach some people on my Patreon as well, and you know, it reminds me when I chat to all of you, if you're watching, hey, you know, it reminds me of the feeling I had when I was just starting out on my journey. And, you know, with Corona and everything this year, with the pandemic, you know, people's mental health, I know that is the main thing that people are struggling with right now, is mental health. Is that every time I put a box on my Instagram, I'm like, what do you want help with? Everyone's like, mental health, please. Fix me. Right. And, you know, I don't know what the best answer is for a pandemic, because I've not had that experience, and to really be able to reflect on an experience properly is to have time away from it. What I do know is that I did take a significant break, or kind of give up, basically, and slow down my lifestyle, kept it really simple. I was just started to draw on Instagram every day, was waitressing, and not only was I getting therapy, but I made peace with the idea that if I wasn't going to have a creative career, like, I'm still a human being that has value, and I finding identity in other things, like family and friends, and being really good at elements of my job. Wasn't great at all of it, but, you know, being proud of the fact that I was a really good team member. I valued the people that I worked with, and we had fun. And finding identity in other things, I think, was really, really great for me as in who I am now today. And it just goes to show that, like, the advice that you can get from people who know what they're talking about, who are very experienced, who have been doing this for a really long time, you don't always have to take their advice on board. And when it comes to your health and your mental health and your well-being and your happiness and your stress levels, like, at the end of the day, you're the one that can say no, or can say, you know what, actually not right now, I'm going to go take care of myself. I think we need more of that. And, you know, this idea that, obviously, I think the hustle mentality has definitely gone away, thank God, but we still live in a capitalist society which values ourselves based on our work output. And reality is that creativity isn't like a calculator. Although I 100% agree with Very Little Peach with this idea that you have got to get good at working when you don't want to work, because when you have a client, you cannot decide, oh, I don't feel like working today. But at the same time with this year, I'm someone who puts too much on my plate all the time, and I'm constantly learning this lesson. It's okay to say no. You can still have a good output of work, which is what I'm doing what I've been doing this year. You can have a great value output of work. You can do creative work while having balance and whilst spending time with your family, whilst calling your family if you don't live with them, and valuing your self-care and looking after yourself and your health and your well-being and cooking yourself a really nice good meal. You can have all. The only reason that I can still have churn out the level of production that I want to make without overstepping it is planning, sticking to my plan, and just getting really good with time management. And I can go into depth. I used a cleansing glycolic cleansing peel, cruelty free as well. That's what I just put on my face. Okay, so I've just taken that off. Next thing is toner. So I got a Body Shop Tea Tree toner just left over in here. I like to, I can't even remember what it's called now, but I think it's like a 7-step toner or something, I don't know. So I actually don't have panic attacks anymore, and we can get into a separate video, because that was for me like tackling all my fears head on, in terms of like just going to events after therapy to have that support and to be able to know how to deal with my emotions. But yeah, I just started to say yes to things. The reason that, let me know if you want me to do a whole video about my anxiety and how I got over it. Yeah, I don't have panic attacks anymore. It's been over 2 years since I've come off my medication. Anyone that is struggling with anxiety, just know it is 100. I was having panic attacks every day for years. Never thought I was going to live a normal life. So anyway, where I am at now is I always prioritise my mental health and well-being. The only reason I'm able to push myself is because I've come to such a good place. I feel like I'm just boasting. But I am. I mean, people in my life know me. I mean, I am 28. Maybe that doesn't even mean anything, because you can have mental health at any age. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that there's always, always, always hope for things with mental health. So, as some of you may know, I make a lot of work. I do push myself, and I do have quite a high level of output and production, and granted, I have burnt out in the past. I'm really not going to burn out again. But I always prioritise my health. I always prioritise my well-being. I always prioritise family time. Well, I do now. Always prioritise friends. And I really wanted to share not only how I do that, but how also with this, I mean, we're in the second lockdown now, and because I deal with the seasonal depression, CAD, where is that? Oh yeah, I use this Essence by Revolution. Hey, so it just cut off. Next thing I'm gonna do is I've got some oil. I don't even know what I was saying. sorry, it cut me off. I just wanted to talk about like how important it is to take care of yourself. And I know there's people that connect with me for different things, whether it's about, you know, the topics I tend to cover in my work, or creativity in general, or activism. And these are all things that creativity and activism have similarities in terms of, we get told all the time, if you're creative or you want to be an activist, this pressure to constantly be on, and to constantly, obviously within activism you feel like if you're not doing good then people are suffering, and with creativity there's this like idea that you've got to keep up with everyone, keep up with the Joneses, and you know, if you fall behind then there'll be someone else there to take your place, and there's so many people wanting to do this thing. The reality is that we can't pour for an empty cup. And I don't know the best advice on how to deal with this yet. I just know that regardless of pandemic or not, we need to start shifting our industry to valuing self-care. And I think that's only going to start with, there's so many people already leading the charge with that. I'm going to link them below. And I think the hustle mentality can die, thank you. And, you know, my work is vulnerable and hardworking, and I research it a lot, and it's all of me, and it's exhausting and mentally draining, and it's not the same as going into a job, because I've had many jobs where I literally could have done it with my eyes closed. Not that it was a bad job, but it's you don't have to wear so many hats, and it's not emotional in some of the jobs I've had. And sometimes, you know, it's really exhausting. I don't like being my own manager. I don't like being my accountant. I don't like, you know, doing things I don't want to do. But at the end of the day, I love my job. And, you know, my burnt out last year taught me that if I don't take care of myself, I'm going to really resent my work, and I never want to get to that place. And the same thing with activism. Like, you can't pour for an empty cup. You can only give, like, it's that thing of, like, you know, with the blah blah blah, the metaphor of like the plane's crashing, you've got to put the mask on yourself before you put it on someone else. And sorry, that felt so good on my eyebrow just then, like, oh my day. If you work on a screen, try this, because it feels so good. What was I saying? You have to help yourself, otherwise you can't help anyone. And, you know, I make mistakes and I push myself too hard, but I really can honestly say with my whole heart that I always prioritize my mental health. And mental health means so much to me, because I know how easy it is to slip into a really bad pattern or spiral into a really bad way, that I'll never not take care of myself. And if that means I'm going to have to do things differently, and if that means posting less on Instagram, or if that means, you know, blah blah blah, not being as consistent as I can or should be on YouTube, then that's what it means. You know, let's shift the way things are done so that they better suit us and what we want, what kind of life that we want to have, and what kind of things we want to create. And I think there's space for everyone to be able to do things their own way. And I'd much rather someone I'm obsessed with on Instagram or on YouTube make one video a month and take care of themselves than make a video every week or every day and end up burning out and destroying their own mental health for the sake of that. And I think hopefully things are shifting that way. But yeah, basically, I'm going to leave some people down below, like, that have inspired me to make my job work for me and my needs. And yeah, I just wanted to talk a little bit about when my mental health lockdown seasonal depression, creativity, capitalism. Your value is not about your output. When I gave up and was waitressing, it was very valuable for me because I found my identity in other things that weren't my creativity. And, you know, I think that was really, really important and really valuable. And I love that kind of time off as well, to make peace with the idea that I am more than a creative person. So I don't know, I guess I just wanted to like ramble about mental health, as that seems to be the thing that, you know, I think we're all going through right now. And I hope this video can, if anything, give you the permission today to take care of yourself, even if that means making yourself a glass of water or going to bed early. You know, I think it means so many different things for different people. And also, if you're a creative person, to know that you're allowed to prioritize yourself and your mental health, like always. And let me tell you, from my experience, I know that my creativity has only gotten better because I always prioritize my mental health. It makes me stronger. It's made me better equipped to deal with challenges. It makes me more strict on my schedule. It makes me work faster because I know I have got to stop at a certain time. And yeah, I guess I just wanted to say the things that I wish someone had told me when I started out, which was like, you can do this your own way, you're allowed to do this your own way. And there's, you know, lots of graphic designers out there as well who have balance and who have work in studios and work in places and agencies that value balance as well. And I really feel like things have been shifting for the last few years, where companies as well have been having conversations about mental health. So there are places out there, regardless of what kind of career you're in and what kind of route you want to go down. I think the problem with working by yourself alone in a really dark room for a lot, like I do, is it's not ideal. Yet this is what I want to do, and I love my job. It's just about getting a little bit more strict with my schedule so that I can incorporate daily things every day that really take care of myself. And I know I feel like I talk about, you know, eating well and exercising and meditating like so often, but they really, really are it for me. So I know that this is a really busy time leading up to Christmas, where, you know, I've been getting busier and busier every week in the lead up to Christmas. I hope that's helpful. I love you so much, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.